We pay money to visit galleries, dance performances, concerts. Our idols are musicians, our role models are actors. In our eyes, these performers are shining examples of aspiration and success. Through the purchases of tickets and merchandise, we as a society fund the finances of the arts, giving them monetary support, allowing them to continue practicing the beauty of their art form. But we do not see the aspiring youth they once were. We only see the established artist. We see the actor on stage at the Golden Globes accepting their third award. We see the singer consistently on the iTunes charts, rarely shifting from the coveted top 10 position. We see dancers flawlessly execute pas de deux, performing superhuman acts of strength as if it were nothing. However, have you ever thought about the young girl being cut from the quarter ballet, or the broke guitarist busking on the side of the road for any dollar they can get just to pay for their bus ride home? What about the budding actor who, while displaying a natural talent and burning passion for theatre, is denied the chance to attend improv class because her parents do not believe it will get her anywhere and refuse to pay the tuition? Why do we constantly overlook the pre-performer? The students who are told to pursue a real job, to think logically, or to make a safe decision. Why is it that in a society with such a high appreciation for the arts and in turn the artist, the same one that tells its future generations that these beautiful and intricate art forms are somehow a second-class career? Performing arts have always been a huge part of who I am, and my entire life I have been encouraged to explore my creative side. My parents helped me to practice piano, they took me interstate to dancing competitions, and attended every single night of the musical in which I performed my first principal role. However, closing night of the show, I mentioned wishing I could do it every night, as a career, but they laughed. They didn't think that the idea was viable or smart, because the industry is difficult to break into, because there is no such thing as a stable job, because you could work your entire life trying to get a foot in the door, only to have the door slammed in your face. Because doctors and lawyers make more money, and office jobs are the norm. It's not that the idea of becoming a performer is absurd, it's that the idea of getting there seems impossible to those who are not on the road. From the point of view of the young performer, the ideas are much more clear.
Hi, I'm Erin Foote. I am 18 years old and I am a student.
My name's Chris Stewart. I'm the Artistic Director of Brisbane Powerhouse, and previous to that I was the Director of the New York Musical Theatre Festival. I was the Associate Director of Wicked the Musical here in Australia, and I was the Founding Director of the Sydney Fringe.
Okay, so my name's Dan Richardson. I play a street performance.
Hi, I'm Hannah Evans. I'm 17 years old and I'm a student.
I'm cartwheeling in my mind, 'cause I think you'll find I'm getting on badly alone now, sadly. Up through the rabbit hole there will I find my feet on smooth gold in this lovely world. I've been here before.
It's interesting to look at what people assume about creative careers.
I think there's an idea of a lot of people that works in arts and cultural industries being kind of airy and uncommitted and not really understanding the weight and significance of the real work and stuff that should be done. I think that really underestimates the kind of fierce intelligence and rigour that a lot of people apply to their craft. Should I ponder anything else? I mean, I really hate the sort of stigma of artists that are kind of a burden on society sort of thing, that people not really understanding the true value of what creativity can mean and how important it is.
Particularly in Canberra, we have like, it doesn't seem to be the done thing. There's not, like if you're in Sydney or Melbourne, there's theatres everywhere, there's performing arts schools, it's accessible, that's where the commercial industries are, it's where the film industries are and places like that. Whereas in Canberra it's kind of tiny and there's theatre, but that's seen as something you do on the side, with a real job and things like that. So I feel in particularly small towns, the idea of an actor is either unless you're Meryl Streep, quality, amazing, successful, that's okay, great, they're an actor, we can be really proud of you, but they also think that there's the opposite of that is unemployed, you know, not getting a real job and kind of just, you know, not doing anything for the rest, I don't know what I'm saying, like not doing anything, you're not doing anything or contributing to society. Whereas I think a lot of time you forget about that grey area of people that are making a living just doing commercials or TV or theatre, and yeah, people kind of always miss out on that grey area.
Well, the most obvious one I think is dancers' diets. People think there is no diet, they think we don't eat, and that's how we all stay so thin, but that's not the case at all, and in fact I know me and all of my friends are probably the biggest eaters I've ever come across in my life. And to be honest, it is because another misconception people don't know is we're actually working really hard for like 5 to 6 hours of the day, like just straight up physical activity. So if we didn't eat, we wouldn't make it through the day. So we actually eat a lot.
People think you're in it for the wrong reasons as well. A lot of people think that it's just, oh, a quick way to get a lot of money and fame and all of that, but it's not that at all. So that is a con.
The truth is, there is a lot more to the arts than first meets the eye. As an audience, we often lose sight of the rehearsals, the injuries and the obstacles that are battled to reach the final product.
This could take a while. Yeah. So, well, it's difficult in the fact that people don't take you seriously a lot of the time. A lot of people think, oh, they're just going through a phase, they'll get over it, or every teenage girl wants to be an actor. But I don't know, I don't quite, that's frustrating to me because it's like, well, there are actors, so there are jobs, so someone has to do it, so why can't it be me? But people don't really seem to see that kind of side of things. They're just like, oh, she's going through a phase.
The purpose of theatre is people. And I think theatre can never really exist if it's not for people at that moment in that space. It's about, the hardest thing about doing theatre is it's really expensive, it's lots of people, it's all this sort of stuff. But the best thing about theatre is the same thing. You know, it really works well when you have a committed group of actors that are really honestly sharing something and an audience that really wants to experience it.
You get to meet all these other young people in like your community theatres and things like that that really do kind of have those same aspirations and goals, and you really get to find mutual understanding and understandings and things like that through meeting other people. But it's definitely difficult.
I think the most challenging thing about dancing is the uncertainty of the career as a whole. There's just, one injury can stop your whole career, or it can stop you from getting a certain part, or it can stop you from, I don't know, achieving certain things. And so that can be really difficult to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
I don't really think there's a stable career for people wanting to direct, no. I think the skills that you learn and the skills you learn in all creative industries are applicable across a number of different things. So I think the kind of skills I learned as a director I've applied to producing festivals and major events, and I've applied to making and building a whole number of things. And I think as a director you learn to create, you learn to make, you learn to hopefully be innovative about how you view things. And I think that's the kind of skill set that can be applied very broadly, whether it's to specifically directing a show or any other environment that requires leadership and management.
Very scary. I literally stay up, like I don't sleep sometimes because I'm literally thinking, mulling over decisions. Is it gonna work out? You know, it's difficult. You got to thinking constantly about the future. My mind is constantly in the future. It's never in the present anymore.
I sort of feel my role primarily is to be a storyteller. So I'm trying to serve what the writer is trying to do, and trying to serve what I think is the best way of sharing this show with audiences. My work doesn't particularly have a strong political bent, or I try not to impose other things on the show other than what the show itself I think wants to be. So for me it's a successful production when it really connects with an audience, and when I think the writer and the team involved feel that it's really served what they were hoping it would be.
dance and the arts are beautiful and they're lovely to go and see and they're a really good time, but they can also be an education for some people, and it's interesting because everyone does learn differently. Some people can read things, some people can listen to things, but some people require movement, and the arts can deliver messages and themes that some people just really get, and I think that's really important to be able to deliver those things in different ways than just saying, this happened, acknowledge it. And what I love about dance is it doesn't always give answers, but it poses questions. So you can go and you can leave, and you didn't just see the performance and that's that. You leave the performance, and then for days after you're still thinking about it and being like, what did that mean, and what was that trying to tell me? So I think that's really important.
The goal of an actor is to just tell stories and to inspire others and to really make people think. Like, I think the role of acting is, you know, theatre and film and all of that can evoke emotions, they can inspire others. Films inspired me, storytelling's inspired me to be an actor. And the ability to inspire someone else to be an actor and to tell stories and to communicate through theatre and through acting is kind of the goal of an actor, definitely.
I think the next 100 years will be driven by people who are creative. I think the times that people in the first world can, you know, stay rich and prosperous around building factories or digging things out of the ground is sort of slowly dying. That we're heading towards a time in which innovation and creativity and problem solving and knowing how to find a new solution, a new way of doing things is going to be more and more prized as the world gets smaller. So I think because of that, people that come from a creative background are going to become more and more important and are going to be able to apply their skills wider and wider. That being said, I think academia is one of the great aspirations someone can hold, because in the heart of it, that's about discovering knowledge, and that is probably much closer to the arts than many things. And I think security is something that everyone wants. We want to be warm and we want to be safe. But I think you can have those things in the arts, and I think one of the things the arts delivers to us is a great sense of comfort. I think all good actors share a sense of honesty, and they share a sense of empathy. You can find very smart actors and very dumb actors, so there's a lot of things that are very different between them, but even the smart actors are still probably by and large led by their heart. They're very emotionally open and emotionally intelligent, and I think that helps them in a kind of empathetic understanding of what a character wants and why that character is right and what they need, which is ultimately where sort of honest performance comes from.
More you have to have the brain and the commitment, because it is such a demanding thing to do, and if you can't, I think if you're not resilient, then you're screwed a bit. So, because there are, like, it's not just you get in and then that's done, like, it's a whole life of auditioning for new things and doing new things, and always having people below you doing the same thing and coming up under you, you don't really have a moment to rest. So if you can't deal with setbacks like injuries or people saying no or not getting an audition, then you don't really have what it takes. So I think having a brain is probably the most important thing to have.
Willing to take, I don't know how, I mean, I'm pretty willing to risk most of it. It's what I want to do, and I can't picture myself doing anything else, which scares me as well, because if I can't picture myself doing anything else, I have to do that. But what if I'm not even good at that? What if I can't succeed? Then what am I going to be doing? That's a fear.
Ballet particularly does get a lot of support in the way of people coming to watch, not support to actually put the shows on, but like going to see the ballet every Christmas or whatever is like often a classic family thing to do, and so that's lovely, but I don't think it's actually appreciated to the extent it should, because it is just viewed as one of those things to go and it's really pretty and wasn't that a nice time, but it's hard actually doing the things and like nailing a pirouette or something that's really hard, and everyone's just like, ah, and I'm like, it's really hard, like, you don't understand. So I think that's tough sometimes, but yeah.
I think they're appreciated. I think they are. I mean, as an artist, of course, you always want more, but no, I think that, especially in Melbourne, people dig the arts. They love it. They want it. They want you to give them something. And that's, I mean, getting back to the question before, what do people get out of it? That's what I get out of it. What do people get out of it? They get to be entertained. That's just like the immediate thing of like, cool, someone's doing something, it looks a bit interesting. And then there's sort of deeper layers, like some people get more into the musicianship of what I do and appreciate that, you know, I've actually kind of worked on it my whole life and studied it, and they kind of appreciate it from that level. Sometimes people want a souvenir, so it's like tourists, they want to take a photo, they appreciate that. Some people want a souvenir like a CD, so they go to CD. So there's a whole lot of different reasons, all to do with performance and all the aspects of that.
Young bands such as the Treehouse Children, Ivey and the Kwirks are kids doing amazing things. Not only producing absolutely mind-blowing music, but possibly unintentionally making a statement. These are kids who tell other kids that it's okay to dream. If it's possible for us, it's possible for you. The arts give so much more to society than just entertainment. They educate, comfort and implant thought in the minds of the audience. They encourage the audience to dream. Actors appeal to the mind. They tell stories otherwise untold. They ask questions that must be asked. They demand discussions that must be had. They inform. Dance appeals to the body. Physical movement frees, but dance allows expression. While anyone can dance, not everyone can be a dancer. Dance requires passion that cannot be taught. Dance is the body's language. Music appeals to the soul. Musicians connect and empower their listeners. Australian band The Treehouse Children are a group of young teenage boys. Through the power of their music, are able to make men, women and children alike feel something. Feel that maybe they aren't so crazy after all. That maybe their dreams are possible. That's not something that just anyone can do. That requires a special kind of person. That requires artistry. The arts are so much more than just a physical and visual. The arts emote feeling and fulfill the human need for expression. I believe in the value of the arts. I believe in the artists.
Give $1 to a busker today, is what I have to say. Cheers.
Keep me in line. Feel